शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। स्मरणमात्रेण जन्मसंसारबन्धनात् विमुच्यते। नमस्तस्मै विष्णवे प्रभविष्णवे लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वार्ताय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। Om Namo Venkatesaya. My pranams everybody. We are in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga, where Bhagavan is talking about the vision of the person who has perfected the art of meditation. So he will have the he not only sees the Jivatma in himself, he sees the same Jivatma of the Satchidananda Swarupam in all the people. That is the one common vision which he sees. Apart from that, he also sees Bhagavan in all the people. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. So let's move on to Sloka number 32.
Atmaupam yena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham vayadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mataha.
So again, the equanimity in the vision, Atma upayamyena, that means anupama, that is avupamayena, that means by comparison, that means he is comparing his Atma sarvatra, that means he is the same Atma in terms of its the quality. Of course, the philosophies differ. If it is Advaita, he says that the Jivatma is the same as Paramatma and there is only one Atma. So in which case he is saying the same Atma everywhere. The other way of the other philosophies are accepted, then he is seeing that the quality of the Jivatma is the same with everybody because it is the same Atma, the consciousness bliss as well as the existence and then the awareness. So it's the same thing. So that means he is seeing the same thing everywhere. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yaha, that person who is able to see that to Arjuna. Sukham va yadi va dukkham. So that means even if it is happiness or sorrow, happiness and sorrows are only at the mental level. So when do you get the happiness or sorrow? It is only at the mental level. But the person who has transcended beyond that mental level, so he sees the equanimity, because even if the other person is suffering, he is not he's not looking at his the physical body or the mental, the subtle body, which is this the mind and the intellect, but he only looks at the Jivatma. The Jivatma is never the sufferer or the enjoyer. It is always in that Atmic bliss, and therefore, since he has identified himself with that, this Jivatma Swarupam in all other people, so even if that person is happy or sorrow, he doesn't bother about it because it is at a much lower level. So he has identified with a much higher level, and therefore he is the greatest yogi. That means Paramo Mataha. He is that greatest yogi. That's what Bhagavan says. This is my Parama, means ultimate, Mataha means opinion. My ultimate opinion is a person, a yogi, who has perfected the art of meditation, is able to identify himself with the Jivatmas in all other people, which is beyond the mind and intellect, and therefore even if that other person may be suffering or he may be enjoying, he doesn't look at this, the gross body and the subtle body, but only looks at the Jivatma Swarupam and identifies himself with that and is able to see the equanimity of that vision. He is the greatest yogi. That's what Bhagavan says. This is my firm opinion. That is my ultimate opinion. That's what Bhagavan says. Now, having listened to all these things, Arjuna has doubt. So he's asking the next two slokas his doubts. So let us see what the doubt of Arjuna is. Sloka number 33.
Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram.
So Arjuna is saying, I am yoga, this yoga, Vaya, that means by you, Prokta. That means this yoga which has been told by you, Samyena. Samyena means one meaning of Samyena is it is generally said, other meaning is with a lot of equanimity. That means with a lot of, this confidence and as well as with it, the very clear mind you have spoken to me, Madhusudana. Oh, Madhusudana, Madhu means One who destroyed the asura called Madhu. There are two asuras, Madhu and Kaitava. Bhagavan destroyed them, and therefore he's called as Madhusudana. So one who killed this asura called Madhu. Other meaning of Madhusudana you can talk about is Madhu also means the sense enjoyments. The enjoyments arising out of the sense objects. And therefore one is able to destroy that and then enable his bhaktas to remain in that, Atmic consciousness. And also he can be called as Madhusudana. So he's called as Madhusudana. Etasya aham na pashyami. I'm not able to understand this. That means I'm not able to see that. Why? Chanchalatva. That means the mind is always chanchalam. Chanchalam means it is always restless. It is a chanchalam means it is moving from one object to the another object. It doesn't remain firm. That's what becomes thiram. That means it doesn't remain fixed in a fixed place. It is not stable. And then sthitim. That means it keeps on moving from one situation to another. And therefore I'm not able to see this. So the Arjuna says, yes, you did explain to me the meditation and this dhyana yoga and other things in a perfect manner, in a very general manner. You explained to me all these things, but then I'm not able to see this dhyana yoga as such because the mind's nature is chanchalam. Chanchalam means it is always moving from one object to other. It is in that situation. It is also doesn't remain stable or remain in one place, and therefore I'm not able to understand the dhyana yoga which you have explained to me so far. That's what Arjuna says. Almost like all of us, we are also in that same position. Okay. He's asking the second question. Okay, let's move on to the second sloka.
Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadhritham tasyaham nigraham manye vayorivasu dushkaram.
So Chanchalami Mana Krishna, it is not Krishna, it is in the what you call the eighth case, Sambodhana Vibhuti, and therefore it is Krishna. Chanchalam hi mana, oh Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. So the mind's nature is Chanchalam. I mean, the nature of the mind is, that's why it is compared to monkey. The mind is compared to a monkey because monkey doesn't keep on one object. It will take one object. Once you say some other object, it will drop this and take something else. Similarly, the mind also, it will have one thought. From the thought arises some other thought. From that third thought, fourth thought, etc., etc., etc. So when you sit in meditation, you can see, oh, this many kind of thoughts are coming in me, even in a fraction of a second or in 1 minute or something like that. So many thoughts. So Chanchalam, the mind's nature is Chanchalam. That means it will keep on moving from one object to the other. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Pramati balavatritam. Pramati means it's also obstinate, agitating. So if you put a order to the mind, it will only disobey that. So it is pramati means it is agitating, it is obstinate. Balavadridam. Balavadridam means it's very, very strong. Mind is absolutely strong. So that means the mind is absolutely strong. That means he's saying that I'm not able to control that. That's why he's saying the mind is so strong, I am not able to exercise control on the mind. And it also very, agitating, and then it is very obstinate also. It doesn't listen to whatever I say. And the nature of the mind itself is, very, very agitated, very, unstable. That is most from one thing. Now you look at the young children. The young children can be compared to the young children will keep on moving from one place to another. They'll keep playing something else. If you put an order, they will try to disobey that order. So they are very obstinate also. So that means the young children and the mind can be compared, or the monkey can be compared to this, this mind. So it will keep on, mind is restless. It keeps on moving from one object to the other. Then it is very obstinate and it is so strong, I'm not able to control that. That's what Arjuna is trying to say. Second line. Tasya aham nigraham manye. Therefore, I am considering that it's very, very difficult to control the mind. Vayo rivat sudushkaram. So, can you control Vayu means wind? This hurricane and all this, forceful winds. Can you control that? It is very, very difficult. Dushkaram means very difficult. So, very difficult to control the wind or the air. So, like that, I think that the mind is very, very difficult to control. That's what he's saying. Ultimately, he is coming to the conclusion that I won't be able to control the mind, and therefore I won't be able to practice the dhyana yoga which was suggested to me. So let's just summarize the two slokas which Arjuna said. So Arjuna, of course you have explained to me the dhyana yoga, how to perform all those details, etc. But then I am not able to see that because I find that mind is, this keeps on moving from one object to another. It is unstable, and then it is also obstinate, and it is also very, very strong. So it is very strong, and I don't have the courage to, or I don't have the sufficient strength to control the mind because it is so powerful. And therefore, I think it's very difficult to control the mind. So I'm giving up. And then it is like, controlling the wind. Can anybody control the wind direction? Or, you find so many, the hurricanes, then, this storms and all those things happening. Is there anybody can control the storm or the hurricane? Nobody can do that. So that is what he's saying. So Vayoriva Dushkam. So very, very difficult to control, like the wind or the hurricane. So that's what Arjuna says. Now let's see what Bhagavan says. Bhagavan gives a beautiful answer. So let's see the sloka number 35.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grhyate.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the blessed Lord said, so he's, he's saying, Asamshayam, absolutely, you're doubtless. That means whatever you said is absolutely, without any doubt, I accept it, Bhagavan. So this is what they call is in psychological terms, they call it as yes-but techniques. What they do is, when somebody says something, the psychologist will say yes. First he will say yes. Only when they say yes, then what happens? Then the other person will listen. Supposing if you say immediately, so no, what you're saying is wrong, immediately other person will switch off. You won't listen to whatever you're saying. So Bhagavan is using that technique. He's saying, Asamshayam, absolutely, Arjuna, whatever you say is absolutely true, without any doubt. Samshayam is doubt. Absolutely no doubt on what you're saying. Mahabhav is addressing, when he says, the Balabhadridam, that means it is very difficult for me to control. But then he's using the word Mahabaho. That means, Arjuna has got mighty shoulder. That means you're a very strong person, implying that you will be able to control the mind. You are such a strong person. Why are you saying that mind is very difficult to control? So Mahabaho is addressing the word Mahabaho. Mano durnigraham chalam. That the mind is very difficult to control. I accept whatever you say, Arjuna. It is very difficult to control the mind. Chalam means it will keep on moving from one place to chalanam. That means it will keep on moving from one place to another. Achalam means it is very stable remaining in one place. So mind is very difficult to control. It will keep on moving from one place to another. Yes, I agree with you. There is absolutely no doubt what your Arjuna is saying. And then of course, you are a very strong person. That's what he's saying the first line. The second line is the most important, where he is giving the solution. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. Oh Kaunteya, oh Kunti's son, my aunt's son, I'm giving you this advice. Abhyasena means practice. Keep on practicing it. Vairagyena. Vairagya means, one meaning of vairagya is dispassion. So with dispassion, it can be controlled. So that means, why is the mind strong? Mind is strong because it is possessing all sorts of desires and all those things. So once you start giving up the desires through this karma yoga, then all the desires fall off, and therefore then the mind will get reduced of its desires, and therefore it's easy to control them. That's one meaning of vairagya. That is vigataha ragaha yasya saha sa viragi tasya bhavaha vairagyam iti uchyate. That means a person who has left all these desires is called as viragi, and then his nature is called as vairagyam. That's what it is. The other meaning in Sanskrit is a very, very beautiful language. You can say Visesha Ragam. One it is Vigata Ragam. Vigata Ragam means one who has one whom all the ragas or the desires have fallen off. Visesha Ragam means one has got a special attachment. So that means what he is saying is, if you are steadfast onto the goal, you have got the attachment towards the goal. That means, if that is I have to control the mind. If you have that kind of a special attachment or the desire to control the mind, that is one thing you should have, because it's easy to give up. So I tried many times and then I give up. But in most of the times, in fact, there's also a formula for success Bhagavan is giving. Formula for success is, you must have attachment to the goal. Come what may, I have got to achieve that. So that is the steadfastness. Even if you fall 100 times, doesn't matter. I will get up the 101st time and still pursue my goal. So that is what is also meaning of vairagya. In Tamil, it's a very colloquial. You can use that. You use that in that sense. It's vairagyatoda padicha pass panitan. That means he got the special attachment to that. Getting clearing his examination, and he did that and he got through that. So that is vairagya. That's one meaning. So one thing which you should have. Second is abhyasena tu kaunte. That means you have got to put in efforts continuously. So you need to put in your efforts. So that means it is not so easy. Mind is of course difficult to control, but just because it is difficult, don't give up. He's saying mind it is difficult but not impossible. So it is not impossible. It's not an impossible task, but it is difficult task. That's what Bhagavan is trying to say. So what you need to have is, you must have the goal of I must control the mind. So that kind of, if you have the special attachment to that goal, and if you keep on practicing it again and again. Again, earlier also he said, when the mind falls from the top, this jivatma, and goes to something else, bring it back again, bring it back again, and again. It's abhyasa. That means you'll have to keep on doing it again and again and again. Then of course you can be successful. You'll be able to control the mind. So this is a formula for success. In fact, it is similar to the last sloka, which of course we all chant in this Vishnu Sahasranamam, where Sanjaya says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanudra, Tatra Shir Vijaya. Vijaya means victory. Where there is Arjuna, where there is Yogeshwara Krishna is concentration. This is what yoga, no? Yoga is also concentration. That is the meditation. So if you are concentrated, that means you have concentration towards your goal. And where you put in yatra partho dhanurdhara, the adjective for partha is dhanurdhara. The dhanurdhara means is Kshatriya dharma, is fulfilling his duty. So that means you are allowed to put in efforts. So Krishna says, yes, I agree with you, Arjuna. It's very, very difficult to control the mind. I'm 100% agree with you. But if you have attachment to that goal of, meeting that, I must control the mind. If you have this, if you remain steadfast onto the goal of controlling the mind, and then continuously put in efforts. Abhyasena, that means you keep on practicing it again and again and again and again and again, every day you keep on practicing it again. Definitely, vairagya grihya, that means you can achieve your goal. That's what Bhagavan is trying to say. So it's a beautiful sloka. You can use it for many things in our life. So whenever we feel rejected at a point of, I tried, but then I get, don't do that. Have that attachment to the goal. Suppose if you want, I want to get in moksha, yes, keep that goal perfectly. That means don't give up. This is the birth which Bhagavan has given. We don't know what our next birth is going to be. If we just use this opportunity, doesn't mean that once a person has got a human birth, next birth will be human. Because there are several examples from our Quran. For example, there is a story of a Jada Bharata. There's a Bharata, the king, who was the son of Rishabhadeva. He's a great, the devotee of Bhagavan. Then at an appropriate time, he handed over his kingdom to his sons, and then went to the forest, went to the Himalayas. That's the Bhagavatam says it is the current place where, this Muktinath, where the place is Muktinath. He went to that place, established an ashrama, was doing every day puja. In fact, Bhagavatam says once he takes up this tulsi leaf and starts meditating on that, he can do till the, almost till the evening, when the tulsi leaf itself becomes dry. So such was the great quality he had. But then what happened was, one day when he heard a noise of a deer, and then he went to that place, and in a pond or something like that, a tiger killed a deer. He was a pregnant deer. It gave birth to a small young kid, and then the mother deer died. So he got so much attached to this particular kid, and therefore he brought it home. Then all his sadhanas went haywire. He started only looking at this, this young kid of this deer. Where did it go? Then he started following it up and all those things. Then finally, at the time of death, he thought only about this deer, and then in the next birth was only deer. Of course, because of his all these samskaras, he was able to realize at the time of deer, oh, what a folly I made. Even the sattva guna, the compassion itself can lead you into a different kind of birth itself. So that was sattva guna, compassion. But all that he could have done was, he could have, brought it up to a stage and then left it to the forest, because it is supposed to be in the forest. Then he could have continued his sadhana, but he didn't do that. So much attached to that. So even the sattva, call it sattva guna, also sometimes can be a binding, because his next birth was only a deer. And of course, because of his previous karmas, he could realize that, and then he took a birth as Jada Bharata. In Jada Bharata place, he never even opened his mouth right from his birth. So that was the sadhana he followed. So I'm just saying, so if your goal is to have moksha, don't give up the moksha. Definitely you can achieve that. All you need to do is keep on putting your efforts on the abhyasam. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chakriti. It's a beautiful, one of the Bhagavan's greatest advice to Arjuna in this, chapter 6, great sloka. So let's continue our discussion with what Bhagavan says tomorrow. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramadhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvam Sri Krishnarpnamastu. Krishna 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 Krishna.